The family that vacations together stays together. At least that was the plan. Except now the dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want your connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton, for the stay.
This episode is brought to you by Skinny Pop Popcorn. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Oh, so light and crunchy. Skinny Pop Original Popcorn is the snack you've been searching for. Made with just 3 simple ingredients: popcorn kernels, sunflower oil, and salt. Snacking never felt or tasted so good. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Give yourself permission to snack and pick up Skinny Pop Original Popcorn today.
In 2005, 2 brothers hit the road to chase demons and fight monsters.
Fighting a couple of angels, too.
And eventually save the world.
A bunch of times. Over 15 years, this series has built one of the most dedicated fan bases in all of entertainment, and that fan base is near and dear to our hearts.
That's right. I'm Rob Benedict. I played Chuck Shirley, a.k.a. God.
And you do a darn good job, too, buddy.
Aw, thanks.
Well, I'm Richard Spade Jr. I played Loki, the Trickster, and Gabriel, and I directed a bunch of episodes.
Wow, is that it?
I directed you. I don't know. What do you think?
Though we worked on the show for years, we never sat down and watched the entire series.
But that was then, and this is now.
That's right. We are watching each episode and inviting the actors, the writers, producers, and crew to join us in digging into the story, the characters, and the mythology.
These guests share some fantastic behind-the-scenes stories with us. You're going to love those, and you're going to get our honest opinion about each and every episode. That's right. Those guests share some fantastic behind-the-scenes stories with us, and each episode gets a full, honest, and unfettered review from Rob and Rich. And you get to learn a little bit about how TV is made. Lord knows we have.
A warning, there are spoilers. And don't get frustrated that we haven't caught details for multiple viewings or that we know what happens 3 seasons from now. This is the first time we're watching these episodes. And you're there for the ride as we watch with our virgin eyes.
Oh, that's creepy. Thanks for joining us on our journey as we deepen our understanding about why you love this series so much.
Hey everybody, this is Rob Benedict.
And I'm Richard Spate Jr.
And we're talking about Season 5, Episode 20, The Devil, you know. Isn't that how you're supposed to say that?
The devil, you know? You know, it's funny. Okay, you got me, Rob, because I was literally listening to you and you go, the devil, you know, and I thought there was going to be a button to the joke, and I fell for it. I took the bait. Damn, you're good. You should be in entertainment.
Or is it the devil you know?
I'm serious. You should be in entertainment. I don't know how you draw a paycheck right now. Drop it and turn your eyes towards Hollywood.
The devil you know, episode 20, exciting stuff. Let's get into what happens in this
I'd like
episode.
to just go ahead and dive in, shall we?
All right, here we go. The episode opens in a pharmaceutical lab with 2 technicians getting violently stabbed with the syringes of the Croatoan virus by a demon disguised as a security officer.
I want to stop you right there.
Okay.
We talk a lot about how the guest cast in Supernatural is remarkably good.
Yeah.
Top to bottom.
Yeah.
That security guard was awesome. I know he only had one scene and like a couple lines.
Yeah.
But dude, he was great.
Yeah. Yeah. So were the 2 doctors.
They were great. Yeah, it was great.
And hey, I have to say, the monkeys. Pretty good.
Not bad. And what people don't know is those are actually squirrels cast to play monkeys.
Play monkeys. Sam and Dean arrive to investigate, but only find people suffering from mild cases of swine flu.
I got to stop you right there.
Okay.
Dude, how much of a COVID flashback did you have watching that sequence?
No, it was crazy.
Dude.
And it's funny to think this is pre-COVID. So
I know, by years, by a decade.
And they're making jokes about it. Well, we look like Michael Jackson or whatever. But
man, when they rounded the corner of the mask, I was like, talk about being ahead of the curve. I mean, it was so trippy.
Yeah, the whole thing.
That would have been sci-fi level back then, and now it's a walk down memory lane.
Even just making a joke like, look at us with masks on, ha ha ha. It's like
I
jokes
know.
on us.
I honestly thought that was really, really trippy.
Also, mild cases of swine flu. Swine flu
Not that far off.
No.
And they talk about the CDC and like they need the vaccination. Like we need the vaccine. Oh my gosh, it was really. I had a lot of
PTSD
moments in that scene.
Well, they have been in hot pursuit of pestilence, Sam and Dean, that is, but they're always one step behind.
Yeah.
Well, suddenly Crowley appears, and the boys blame him for getting the Harvells killed. He says he really thought the cult would work on Lucifer. He's been spying on the boys, tracking them with a magic coin, and wants to help them locate Pestilence and collect the 4 rings. Mm-hmm. He takes Dean, not Sam, but Dean, to kidnap a demon that works for Pestilence. Crowley refuses to take Sam. The demon Crowley and Dean are going to meet is Tyson Brady, the vice president of distribution at the pharmaceutical company. Also great actor.
Dude, he's great. He's really good.
Who's that guy? I felt like it was one of the Suits guys, but it's not.
Let's see. Let's go down to his name here.
And have we met this guy before? This character before?
No, we never met this guy before.
But he went to school with Sam?
Eric Johnson.
Okay.
He's great. He does a great job.
Yeah. Well, okay. Meanwhile, Sam bounces an idea off Bobby. He's drunk. He's just getting drunk by himself in Crowley's shack.
Pulling a Benedict.
Yeah. Once they have the 4 rings, Sam wants to let Lucifer take control, and then Sam will jump into the pit, trapping Lucifer. Bobby is not into it.
Nah, dude, are you crazy?
Listen to me, son. But he's also enjoying a drink of his own. They're just drinking it up.
Yeah, man. Pulling a Benedict.
Chatting on the phone.
Benedict talking to a Benedict. Hold on. I want to talk about something because now we've leapt past the because we go into Crowley and Dean have captured Brady. We've
left thing in the building.
I want to talk about that thing in the building because the sequence in the building is so well done. And I know it's a kind of a classic Dean Winchester. Well, look who it is. But Eric Johnson does a great job playing that skeevy pharmaceutical exec. But also, Bob Singer directs the daylights out of this episode. Yeah. It is so well done. 2 things that stood out to me in this sequence. Yeah. One, when they come in the building and Dean sees that Crowley has killed dudes. He's like, you got to kill him? He's like, I said, we are short on time, or whatever. As he walks them through, they get in the elevator, and it's one shot. And they back into the elevator. And so they built that set piece for them to be able to carry that whole thing into the elevator. Genius.
And then coming down.
Bingo. Goes into the elevator, does a 180
and they're on
into a 360, and then boom, he's on the right floor.
But they've changed the set because
I know, and they did the lighting change in the elevator. So
because the elevator doesn't go anywhere in real life.
Really well done, man. Like,
and
really
then they
well
turn
done,
around,
Bob
it's a
Singer.
new set. Yeah. No, I noticed the oneer in the elevator, I thought, on the coming down. Also, just the whole thing, like Crowley, I don't know what you call that. He disappears and then reappears somewhere else.
Yeah, all of that sort of
and slits his throat. And Jensen has a really funny thing in the car. And he's like, what the? And he's like, he gets out of the car, because Crowley's like one step ahead of him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they go up and they have that scene like Wall Street, that guy.
Yeah.
He's like almost high on coke, kicking Dean.
Dean handles the stabbing of the seat of the Impala rather well.
He does. I
mean, Sam puts a knife right through that vinyl.
Yeah. But he doesn't want the blood. He doesn't want the blood on it. Hey, watch the seat with the blood.
Yeah, that's okay. Tear it off with the blade, but don't bleed on it.
Yeah. Also, your guy gets taken out very quietly, but the guy in the first scene that you like so much.
Yeah.
He's the one that he kills, who's like kind of guarding the door of the office.
Oh, yeah, that's where that happens, sort of off screen, right?
Yeah, kind of off. Well, yeah, he just killed him off screen, and then we kind of see his limp body. But R.I.P. that guy. We like that guy.
Yeah, we like that guy.
Okay, so Crowley and Dean have captured Brady, carving a trapping sigil in his chest. Don't get blood on the car, and taking him back to Bobby's. There, Sam is horrified when he recognizes Brady. Brady posed as Sam's friend in college and set him up with Jessica.
Oh, it wasn't grade school, it was college. Okay, yeah.
Demon Brady set Sam and Jessica up just so she could be killed in an effort to drive Sam back to hunting.
That is a lesser known, we all, of course, know Patriarch Mike Brady and Greg Brady and Peter Brady and Bobby Brady. Very few times, only in a couple episodes, did they reference the fourth brother, Demon Brady.
Demon Brady.
Demon Brady, who was all over Demon Marcia. And they eventually had to keep those two off of each other. They had to get rid of those characters.
Exiled from the family, they were.
Yeah.
So we're what happened was, it wasn't the yellow-eyed demon actually was running the show. but Brady was doing the dirty work, and he's the one actually.
Right.
So Brady refuses to cooperate. Crowley creates a rumor in hell that he and Brady are, quote, lovers in league against Satan. I love that bit of Crowley, too, where he's like, he's a little bit, goes both ways, maybe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Now Brady must help, or he'll be tortured in hell for eternity if Lucifer wins. There's even a hellhound on its way to dismember him. Fortunately, Crowley has a bigger hellhound. And the two invisible beasts go at it, tearing each other apart while Crowley, Brady, and the brothers escape.
Okay, another Bob Singer home run.
Yeah.
The invisible dogfight was just great.
Yeah.
So well done. So well shot. Clever, but also felt real, and it was just great.
Yeah. So Brady tells them where to find Pestilence in exchange for a quick death. Sam obliges and, kills him. Just kills him right there in the alley there.
Yeah, kills him in the alley.
Crowley appears at Bobby's house, who's trying to figure out where and when Death will show up. Crowley, a Crossroads demon, will give him Death's whereabouts in exchange for something, Bobby's soul.
Bobby's soul.
However, Crowley says it will only be temporary.
It will only be temporary.
He promises to give Bobby back his soul.
Give Bobby back his soul.
Give Bobby back.
Give Bobby back his soul.
I want Bobby back, Bobby back, Bobby back. Give me that Bobby back, Bobby back, Bobby back.
Well, listen. I mean, let's get into Rob and Rich ratings.
Look, I think there's a lot to like about this episode.
There sure is.
Mark Sheppard.
Sheppard.
And vintage Crowley here.
Vintage Crowley, really, truly, like we're getting to know that character better, and he's just so fun. And
he's so fun. He's so good. Such a good actor. So great at doing that. So I think, him doing that, I think it's exciting that we're coming towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
And everything's sort of starting to and this new idea of maybe Sam's going to risk his soul to save the earth. And same with Bobby now, maybe he's going to have to, and then also the episode's brilliantly directed by Robert Singer. There are some shots in it that you do not see on CW.
Oh, let's talk about the shot of the bulb blasting,
yes,
exploding.
Right. Yeah.
The street light.
Yeah.
Where Mark points to it, it explodes, and back down to Mark. That's a tough shot to get.
Yeah.
You got to rack focus at the right time.
Yeah.
The effects team has to hit the button correctly.
Yeah.
Has to be timed with Mark's delivery perfectly.
Yeah.
And then back to Mark.
Yeah.
It's really well done.
Yeah. And Jensen and Jared are also just acting their asses off. And, I like that whole scene between them in the street there. They're all kind of yelling. And so I liked it. I liked it a lot.
There was something else I was going to say to you. One thing I thought was kind of funny, and this is not a criticism, but I did think it was funny, that we're in the boardroom of the pharmaceutical company. It's weird. It's almost like Nexium, that weird cult where people got branded on their, groin, but it was something like Nexius or whatever it was called.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I thought it was funny because in the boardroom, I'm like, is this bring your son to work day? The entire boardroom, there was one older guy and then a bunch of 24-year-olds running the company. I was like, wow. Because the CEO that actor, Eric Johnson, looks young.
Yeah.
Everybody's young.
Yeah.
And, wow, this is really a real startup here.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting in that scene where he leaves the room and then the camera kind of settles on an extra who really gives a great sort of look oh boy, guys.
Yeah. I like that guy. The guy kind of got it right. Yeah, he nailed it.
He did nail it. All right. What did you think? I said what I thought. What did you think?
I thought it was great. I thought some great directing by Bob Singer. And I say that because there's always well directed, but to me in this episode specifically, Bob's always great. The episodes are always well directed, but it had some standout moments, and we've named 4 of them.
Yeah.
Both in and out of the elevator, the entire fight sequence with the invisible hellhounds and the light blowing up and back to Crowley bit, the street light exploding.
Yeah.
And that's just a sample. It's just so well thought out.
Great
by
shots
Bob.
in Baby, too. A lot of good car shots.
100%. So, I mean, I thought it was great. And I thought the guest casting from one-line guys to the big Tyson Brady character were all really well done.
Yeah.
It was just very well put together across the board.
All right. Well, how could I not give it a Kenny Loggins?
Yeah.
I'm going to give this a Kenny Loggins beard. And let's put it late 70s Loggins. Late 70s Loggins for me.
Hold on a second. I got to look something up here to be sure I say this right. Okay. I'm going with our guy, Stapleton.
Okay.
But I'm going with him in the Steel Drivers era.
Where
the beard is not quite as full. It's not a full right now because, again, I want to save perfection.
Yeah.
I thought this episode was outstanding.
Right. That's why I gave it a 70s Loggins, not an 80s Loggins.
Yeah. So I'm giving it a Steel Drivers, which I think is an What year?
And what is
the
it?
80s?
Let's assume not everyone is a diehard Stapleton fan. What is that?
Chris Stapleton had a bluegrass band previous to becoming a household name, and it was called the Steel Drivers.
Got it. And that was pre-solo Stapleton?
Correct.
Okay.
2006 Stapleton.
Right around the time this episode was shot. No, a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit before that. All right, very good. Well, let's get to the interview portion of the show. What a treat we have for you today, folks. We've got Mark Sheppard, who played Crowley and appeared in 70 episodes of Supernatural.
That's a lot of episodes, man.
That is a lot of episodes. But other cool shows Mark has appeared in include The X-Files, Firefly, 24, Battlestar Galactica, and Doctor Who was that show was referenced in this episode. Most recently, you've seen him on Doom Patrol or Walker Independence. And right now, you're going to see him with us. Here's our conversation with Mark Sheppard. Wow, it's funny as I watched the episode this morning, so it's fun to see a thinner, much more tattooed Crowley. I would assume you didn't have these tattoos when you did that.
I had, well, the weird thing about it is I had tattoos that were 30, 40 years old, and in the want and the desire to fix them, I so went, screw it, why don't I do what I wanted to do? And so I had old tattoos reworked. By Kevin Quinn. And then I was like, well, I've always wanted sleeves. I might as well do the sleeves. Nobody's going to stop me acting.
Right.
So that was a lot of fun that way.
Well, let me say, first of all, you're so good. It's honestly, Mark, I know you as a friend. We do the conventions together, but you're such a good actor. And it was really fun to watch and to sort of take notes on some of the things you're doing as an actor. You got a lot going on in your eyes, and it was really fun to watch.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, I'm in good company. I know that. There's a very common, I guess, trope with Supernatural is that they got to pick the people they wanted to do things. And those that were picked, that were excellent, went on to continue. Things that were picked I was supposed to do one episode. And this is my third or something like that at this point. Second, I think. That continues into 8 years. I mean, it's ridiculous. I went from
I know.
Very normal sort of go do a guest star shot. But you know the reason why I did it was I was friends with Kim Manners for years, and I used to be in Vancouver a lot, and I don't drink, and Kim did, so I would hold a table, which is where he liked to sit. I'd be drinking Pellegrino, and he would show up with whoever the director of the week was for Supernatural. So for years, whatever I was doing up there, he'd bring his guy, like Charlie would be there, any of those guys would come.
Is this in the Sutton Place bar, Gerard, or where is this?
In the Gerard.
Yeah.
And this goes back to the days of, I used to go there when it was, began with M.
Oh, wow.
French name of the place, Stringer Hotels, but it was the place. So for years, I'd heard how much fun Supernatural was and how much he loved the boys and how much he loved what was going on. Oh, you got to come and do it someday. And then, unfortunately, he got sick. I was working with his brother, Kelly, and he got sick and he passed. And I'd never come across a Supernatural episode that I was going to do or audition for or whatever. And then suddenly Crowley comes up. So I got the great cosmic giggles of that. You know, it was like,
right.
And to me, it was like, oh, really? You know, this is what you want me to go do? And so I went in and I read for Crowley, which was, I wasn't reading a lot back then, but I read for Crowley and I thought it was just fantastic. I thought the first scene was so much fun to do, kissing that poor bastard under the bridge.
That was the audition scene?
No, I can't remember what the audition scene was, but it was written. Those were the days when they would secretly write stuff, like they would write pages for it and things.
Yeah.
I know Ruth said that she got a fake scene given her to do Rowena.
Right.
Huh. Just hold that thought. We're coming right back.
As a podcast network, our focus is bringing you shows you love to listen to. But we also sell merch related to those shows. And partnering with Shopify has made that both possible and simple for us to do. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor adventures, Shopify helps you sell everywhere because they've got you covered from their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system. What's so fantastic about Shopify is how, no matter how big you want to grow, They provide everything you need to get control of your business so you can take it to the next level. Businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm. That's all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/realm.
Thanks for listening, everybody. And now back to the episode.
What did Kelly Manners do? What was his line of work?
He's a line producer, much like Jim. He was a line producer, and believe it or not, I got into this thing between two executive producers I know where they wanted to bring an executive producer over to do something. I think Dean Devlin wanted me to talk to Kelly to ask him if he'll come and do the new Leverage.
Wow.
While we were working on Dollhouse.
Wow.
So I was working on Dollhouse with Joss, and then went and saw Kelly, and it was like, and Kelly then told me where Kim was at and what stage he was at. He was actually at the hotel apartments behind Fox at the time. And it was just, I think my life is categorized by follow what's there, not trying to bucket, just join in with what's there. And that's half the fun of it, I think.
Yeah. Well, dude, to echo what Rob said, you're just so good. And I know that. We've all worked with you.
Well, I've been busy. I haven't seen that episode in years.
Dude, I've never seen it. Can't speak for Rob, but those are my first time. Yours too, Rob?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was so fun. It's so fun to watch you build this character from the ground up, having worked with you later down the road. So my question is, when you're cast in this role, the role is new to the show, but the character is not new to the universe, so to speak. Meaning like Crowley's an older demon or an older force in the demon, hierarchy. Was there anything you needed to do did you have to catch up on anything story-wise, or, to understand the arc of what was going on in the big picture, or were you just kind of starting from the script and going?
I think we started from the script because, the opening episode, Abandon All Hope, really told you who he was out of the gate. It really told you who he was. The fact that the boys went to him to go get a solution to get rid of Lucifer, and he presents them with the guns. I think the humor was all there. And
that's a great scene, by the way. I know we're not talking about that episode, but that episode, which we've already reviewed a bit ago, is fantastic. That scene with you guys and the gun is great.
It's one of my most favorite things to do is when he puts the gun to my forehead and I say, "Oh, you're going to need these."
Yeah. It's such a well-written scene, beautifully performed by you guys, because we learned so much about Crowley in a brief amount of time. About your snark, your power, your humor, your when you get serious. It's really
cool.
Then
the writing arc got really interesting because then I get everything taken away. So obviously, the work with Lucifer doesn't work. And then I become this guy that's sort of helping them to do things, obviously for his own gains. And, the next thing that happens as we move towards this is dealing with death. And there's all of this. And I always have these brilliant, here you go, this is your solution to your problem. And then it doesn't work, which I always thought was really funny.
Yeah.
But that gave me an ability to play a character that is smarter than everybody else and has an agenda that nobody actually knows what it is yet, but he does.
Right.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you have, as a viewer, you have no idea which team he's on.
Yeah, where the allegiance is.
And neither does him and Dean.
No, and the point is that they try to kill me, and that doesn't work because he knows exactly what they're doing. And then he sort of uses them as his therapists, and he uses them as. It's like how hard this is to run hell. It's the most annoying thing, being middle management in hell.
Yeah.
There was one episode later, which I know you'll come to at some point, but it's the only time that Bob was directing, and it's the time when Crowley became physical. We went, and it was during, I think, season 7, where you and I, Rob, were I think we were introduced to each other around season 7.
We were 11.
11? God, it all puts into one, doesn't it? But no. You know what it was? It was your office and your books. That's what it was. That's okay. Because it's the books that you wrote. That's what it was.
Oh,
so
cool.
I was wondering whether that was what it was. It's awful wallpaper. So no, but the point is that Crowley had not been physical, so you didn't know how dangerous he was until he got physical. And so I literally cut the throat of a particular character in front of Dean, which is like, what the hell? And it's just like, doesn't care, has no qualms about doing this. And if you spot this, you'll have to spot what episode it is, and this will give you your little Easter egg. One of my favorite films is The French Connection, and when they're chasing the frog, as they call him, apologies to my French friends, wonderful moment where he's on the train and they get into the wrong sides of the carriage and in, out, and Popeye's trying to chase him down, and eventually he's on the train and Popeye's left on the platform, and as he goes past, he goes,
What slowly waves.
I did that in an elevator shot in one of Bob's.
Yeah.
Oh, you did it in this one too.
In this one.
Yeah. Oh, I did it in this one too?
Yeah. He gets in the elevator and you go like that.
Oh, this is the one.
Slowly wave. Yeah.
And it's like,
yeah.
But that's totally from The French Connection. That's
funny. That's good. That's good. It worked out because that's the episode we're talking about. So you auditioned for it, and to your knowledge, Abandon All Hope was your only episode.
Yeah, there was nothing written on. There was no deal to do more. I mean, there was an inference that in anything in
he'd come back.
God might come back. But I mean, it turned into an 8-year journey, which is mind blowing to me. I mean,
crazy.
It's mind blowing to me. What I think people don't realize, I mean, they do if the conventions have been really helpful for this, and the fact that these things and doing these things has been really helpful because people get an idea of what we're like outside what we do. The work is incredibly hard. It's like there isn't enough hours in a day. As a director, Rich, there isn't enough hours in a day to execute everything that you came to execute. Mm-hmm. So you do your damnedest to try to get everything that's good into it. And when you have 150 people doing that, you create an atmosphere that is all about the work and all about the passion and all about the stuff on this crummy little series on the CW that nobody watches, but apparently I can't walk down the street in any country in the world without somebody saying Crowley.
Yeah, it's a pretty iconic, man. Yeah. It's pretty damn iconic.
So, but it is so much fun. It is so much fun for us. And I think they need to know that it is so much fun for us because we work hard. We work really, really hard. We had great writers and they worked with us, not at us most of the time. And we had great directors and we had the camaraderie and the want and the desire translates into trying to make the best possible thing to give to the people that love this show. It's a labor of love and cut that out very, very quickly.
Yeah. It is, but your character is a perfect example of something Rob and I have talked about in previous episodes and in some measure about Rob's character and about my character, which is that Supernatural has two leads in this branch of the seasons, and with Misha being a strong third. So they rely heavily on guest stars.
Yeah.
And write material that is magnificent for guest stars. This is not Murder of the Week stuff. This is really well thought out, fleshed out characters, and then they cast them so well. So you end up with a supporting cast, like you say, you go do one episode 8 years later and you're on the poster a bunch of times. So like anything can happen with these shows because they're smart. They build strong bridges for their characters.
Right behind you.
There's 4 faces on there, not 3.
Yeah.
There's 4 faces on there, not 3. There's a reason.
Yeah.
And my theory, along with what you're saying, not to cut into what you're saying, but my theory is, which is why spin-offs have never seemed to work. And there isn't the same charge with doing something that's not these two ridiculous boys. God, they're tall.
Yeah.
But the idea of just my neck, the relief of my neck of not having to do this for another 8 years, off of my lips. But the idea is that I was talking about this with Jensen on a plane once. I said, I think the audience loves the Winchesters, but the audience loves the Angel because he's kind of cute and he's easy. He's the cheapest costume you can buy from Goodwill. That and loves Crowley in this weird sort of second hierarchy level where we love the Winchesters and they live vicariously through our love of the Winchesters. So it still doesn't take away from the fact that we're there to see what the brothers do. And we're
totally
the they you're referring to is the audience, I assume. The they.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't take away from the audience's absolute love of what happens to the Winchesters and why it happens to the Winchesters and what goes on with the Winchesters. And you've got this angel and you've got this demon who, is he really a demon? I mean, is he doing his job? What's he doing?
Right. At what point do we know you as the King of Hell? Are you now the King of Hell or is that a later thing?
I think season 6 started to, I may be wrong, but season 6 into 7. I was definitely running hell.
Okay.
But it was sort of by atrophy, and then you get the stuff with Elena's character, which was like, supposedly during election time was supposedly, there was supposed to be an election between me and her.
Oh, funny.
And we start competing as to who's going to actually run hell, which is I thought was quite interesting. But I always figured that Crowley hated the job. I mean, he genuinely hated the job. The job was boring. The Winchesters were fun. And the job was boring. I mean, never more so than when we get to the Demon Dean situation where me and Dean go out and mess people up, and it's fun. And of course, the network had a heart attack and said, we can't do this for a lot of episodes because he's the good guy.
Right.
And they jettisoned it after 3 episodes. They could have done 3 seasons of it. It would have been absolutely amazing.
And do you and Sam always have an antagonistic thing going on, or is that just early? Because like in this episode, you were like, you're really against each other.
He's written as not trusting me, I think.
Right.
Whereas Dean is written as we can control him.
Right.
Like we can control Crowley,
right.
Just outsmart him. And Sam is like, he's going to screw us over. He's going to screw us over.
Right.
I think my relationship with Jared is emulated in the writing as the seasons go on. Because he's like, with all due respect to the man, he's kind of like my little brother. And I'm this sort of, very big, very strong,
little
difficult little brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Break you in half, little brother.
When you get to my favorite episode that there is, which we'll have to revisit this, which is season 8. The end of season 8 is my swan song. If anything else, I'm singing, I'm crying, I'm getting human blood injected into me. You really saw that there was a trust that Crowley was something. He wasn't lying about being something, but what he wanted was always going to be slightly off what they wanted. It was always the last sane man in the universe. I've had this theory for years. There's only 2 characters worth playing, which is the guy that sells them out before they leave the planet, which is Dr. Zachary Smith in Lost in Space. The original Dr. Zachary. If you watch the original Lost in Space, he's a terrorist. He turns into this wonderfully camp joke after a while. But in the original one, he's a stowaway terrorist. And that's kind of William H. Macy in Fargo, too. This weird sort of fait accompli circumstance that will unravel itself as you go down. A man falling down a mountain on his face is another great description of it. That's a great character. And the other great character is the last sane man in the universe. And that has been, I guess, if I have a forte, that is my forte, the one that actually knows what should happen. And if they would just bloody listen to him, they'd probably be an awful lot better. So Crowley is very much that. And that's really Eddie Albert in Green Acres.
Right.
And my entire career is based on Jonathan, what's his name, and Eddie Albert.
Wow.
Wait, I'm pausing right now so that half of our listeners can go Google who is Eddie Albert.
Yeah. What is Green Acres? But that's always my joke on Richard Speight, that he's older than me. That I was like, I know your first gig was on Green Acres, but
well, actually, I think your joke is actually more truthful than you even are admitting now, because I'll make references to things that really you're like,
no,
dude,
John.
Nobody knows
anything in color you want to reference.
Green Acres was in color.
I know you're ahead of me.
Yeah. In this episode, you beat down, I'm assuming, a stuntman with what I'm assuming is a rubber crowbar.
Oh no, this is the one I was talking about. I thought this was in season 7. No, this is the one where Crowley gets physical. This is Thank God for that.
I love the question, because Rob's like, I'm going to leap to the conclusion that was a stunt guy and a rubber.
The guy's got a wrestling helmet on. You know the ones with the Pro Gel wrestling helmets? You guys probably.
Yeah.
I can just see you two wrestling in college, but that's another story.
Not that you know.
It had these dimples on it, right? And Bob was directing. Right? Bob directed this episode.
Yep.
And he was like, I went to go hit him, and it was like, it's tapping. Kind of tap. Like, what am I going to do? Raise a bump slowly on his head? And Bob's like, so they give me this rubber. First of all, they gave me a soft crowbar, and it didn't work. It just flopped. And then they gave me this rubber crowbar with a thin metal core in it. And I literally went to town on his head.
Yeah, you did.
Literally, I talked with the stuntman way early about this, and he goes, "Go for it, just go for it." And I Bob's face when I did it was. He didn't know if we could get it on TV, because it has an element. Yeah, Bob's going like, I don't know. He goes, I said, this was what we were talking about. Sorry, I made a mistake, but this was when I needed Crowley to be physical in order. Yeah, so we go to that office place, and then I appear behind
him. Yeah.
Cut the guy's throat. There was like 18 gallons of blood in a tank next to him, continuously pumping out. I was like, this job is great. But this is the first time that Dean sees me physical, which changes our relationship. completely.
Right.
Because I'm a talker and I click my fingers and I do stuff and I whine and bitch about my tailor and I do all the rest of those things.
That's right.
This is, and I kill people easily. And it's fun.
And you're disappearing and reappearing in other places.
Jumping. So you're actually telling more about what Crowley's powers are in this, which I always thought was
right.
But oh my God, I remember hitting him with that crowbar.
Wow.
It's a brutal scene to watch.
He goes, you went the full Joe Pesci. I was like, yeah,
dude, I got to be honest. I know that the stunt guy said go for it. I wonder if regretting those words after
what's the first thing I do when he yells cut? I'm like, you okay?
Yeah, and he said, I'm her. He's probably beaten senseless.
He missed a couple of times. Apparently, I caught his ear once.
Oh my God!
But it was just perfect for the character.
And that stunt man is Lumpy McMurtry. We all know him.
Well, his parents know him as Chris.
But, I think it was Jared's. double. Pretty sure it was.
Dude,
known as One-Eyed Willie. Yeah. He can't hear so well on the left side.
I thought it was imperative that I actually did something physical, and I'm glad that's the episode. Good.
Yeah, well, you got it in there. It's physical.
And this is also the episode where you've got the Hellhound fight because you've got your own Hellhound.
Yeah,
nice mime, by the way. Nice mime work.
How do you know how tall the Hellhound?
You know how many people did that to me for how many years after that? Mine's
really
bigger. There's T-shirts with mine's bigger.
Wow.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Did you? How'd you know how tall it was?
I went to school for that.
Yeah. Hellhound measurement was a class.
That's my line when I was.
I have collections of hellhounds that people give me. I think all I remember was the carpet. Do you remember the carpet shot?
Yes.
So that's wires on a multiple pull string on wires dragging those pieces of the carpet back. It's a great little rig.
Oh, wow.
It's a really cool thing to learn.
Wow.
So I was all excited by all this stuff. I mean, you know me, Rich, you know me. I'm never in my trailer. I'm always looking. I'm always
right. It's true.
I'm always looking. You know as well when you came when we first did our first scene.
Yeah.
On set, it's like I'm there. Yeah. I won't go anywhere else. I try to be.
You like it at the conventions too.
Yeah.
If you're there on Friday, you'll show up.
Why not? What's if I've got this better to do?
Yeah. No, I agree.
I've got other Crowley questions. Are you You're the one who calls Sam Moose.
I'm the one in the black suit.
You're the one in the black suit. Are you one that calls Sam the Moose?
Yes.
Moose. And then did you come up with Squirrel for
No. This is a fun story. And all right. So Sarah Gamble, who did I think a fantastic job of taking a ship that literally had docked in a dock and was done to put it back out to port, turn it around and make, I think, a season of certainly some of the best standalones that were ever done. Season 6 was some of the best standalones that were ever done. And then season 7, which I think it's just my opinion, but I think would have been a brilliant season 12. But I think it was too early to have a single storied thing that way. And I always think she got the rough end of the stick for that, but she did an amazing job with 6. She had written she and the writers had written maybe 15 or 16 different insults for me to give to Jared. And it was always Jared. It was weird. It was always Jared. So I had giraffe, gigantor, mop-headed lumberjack, jolly green. I remember there was all sorts of fun ones. And this just went on endlessly, and they're not funny. They're really not funny. And so as an actor, I just have them as a throwaway, and you would get a sort of slight smirk out of them. So you know who we're talking about. It was that. Right. So it was an aside, right. The big fella, whatever. It's the same way as we talk about him in real life.
Right. Yeah.
So she then came up with one, and there's this throwaway line in my burnt out mansion, and Dean's sitting on the couch with a beer and a burnt out couch, and I've gone from this wonderful mansion place to this completely burnt out wreck and this war in hell about who's going to run hell. That's answering your earlier question. And I look at him, I go, "Where's your moose?" And he goes, "Oh, he went to," and it was instant. It was absolutely instantaneous. There's only Jensen can time a line.
Right.
He's drinking a beer and he goes, "Oh, he went to blah, blah, blah." And it stuck. And that was it. Where's your moose? So I was like, "Where is he? Where's your moose?" And that was it. And once you have moose, you have to have squirrel. It's moose and squirrel, which basically is me and Ruth, Boris and Natasha. It just worked.
Right.
It's very Bullwinkle, the whole sequence. All the references.
How many moose references from that point forward would be an amazing fan event to do, is how many times the word moose was said. But all the other ones didn't stick. I mean, I had plenty of insults for the pair of them.
Right.
And they, according to the writers, they would literally sit there and just giggle over who could write me the most ridiculous line and see whether I could do it and how I would do it.
Well, and I have to say, you probably have the best one-liners of anyone on the show. Like, you get just really delicious.
There was an amazing moment. I ended a bunch when I left the show. I didn't really want to go on tour with you guys because it would just be endless questions about when I'm coming back. And I was like, listen, my friends have jobs. Let them get on with it and let them enjoy themselves. And I'll go do some other things, you know. And at some point, we'll all reconvene and do what we're doing now. You know, it's like that's the best part.
Right.
I was very happy for you guys, etc. But it just wasn't for me. The time had come for me to go. But I went to a convention. I think it was San Francisco. I'm pretty sure it was San Francisco. And it was the last creation event I was doing, certainly for a while. And as I walked out into the audience, as I usually do, everybody held up little paddles, and they were like sort of lolly sticks with little sort of cloud-looking signs on them. And each one was a one-liner of mine from the show. And there was 80 or 100 different ones. And I could remember as I was walking around, they just gingerly putting these little signs up, wondering if I was going to take events. And I think the upshot of it is I'm walking around and remembering the context of everything that I'd ever said, which is the weirdest feeling. It's like, yeah. Right. And of course, you got no one in the history of torture has been tortured with torture like the torture you'll be tortured with, which annoys me because Eugenie wrote it and wrote a preposition at the end deliberately just to make me uncomfortable, which I always thought was brilliant.
Well, in this episode, you've got they burnt down my house. They ate my tailor.
They ate my tailor. Oh,
that was really funny.
Is that the one where I spark out the light?
You start a fire.
The light,
oh my God! Oh yeah, you started the light. You started the light. Yeah.
One take. We have one bulb.
Whoa.
We have one bulb.
Wow.
That line has to land, be funny, have me not edit myself, as you know I do. If it's just not hitting, I want to go again. I've got one shot at this.
Wow. It's a special shot, too. You get a special angle.
Yeah, rack focus. It's great.
It's a really, really, really good shot. And we nailed it. And that was, I tell you what was wonderful at the time is that Jared and Jensen were hugely supportive of what I was doing because I was taking a lot of the pressure off. The amount of verbiage that the main characters had to deal with. So it was a lift and it was fun. So these were the times when Jared moved me around a car physically because I was standing in the wrong place, like actually picked me up and put me on my mark in this episode. It's really funny. But I just remember the joy and the kindness of all this. I remember how difficult it was. Again, one shot at that lamp. They ate my tailor. Oh my God, I heard that nonstop for the last.
I thought it was interesting that how you reacted to being shot by Bobby, because you had a physical reaction
as well.
Yeah.
Oh, this is all this episode to the chest.
Yeah, you go, I like this suit.
I like this
suit. You make a joke of the suit, and I couldn't figure out is he physically reacting to that reaction because does he feel physical pain or is it just the pressure of the bullet and you rip the suit? He's like I don't know.
You can feel it because you're getting punched. I always thought the logic of that is you're going to feel it. You're just not going to die.
Right.
You know, it's like I get thrown off a building. I'm going to go, I mean, you should know in your favorite episode that you directed, your first one, when I go through that wall, that scream
that's number 2.
That was your second.
Stuck in the middle.
Yeah. Well, I knew it was your favorite one because I'm in it.
Exactly.
Me and Jerry, you're happy.
Exactly. Yes. Okay. So there is physical. You notice the physicality of it.
There is because I'm in a meat suit.
Right. There was something gratifying about watching that in a way. You know what I mean? Rather than someone just going like, you know.
Well, you know who's.
But you're like, oh, come on.
You know who's pulling me? Our wonderful stunt coordinator,
Lou. Yeah.
Who I miss. But it was. Oh, Mark can do this. 17 squibs in my chest.
What?
Yeah, 17 full rounds in my.
Why?
Because it looked good.
No, wait. I think we're talking about different beats, though. Because in this thing, he fires a pistol at you, and it's one bullet.
Oh no, that's that one. Oh, wait for the shotgun one. That's coming up.
Yeah. So this was just a one.
I promise if we do another one, I'll watch the episode with.
I was thinking, like, if Jim had to do that 17 times, that doesn't make any sense.
No, he didn't shoot me 17 times. He shot me with a shot.
Right.
So I had
a different thing. Wow. Okay, got it.
That might be the next episode.
In one go. So they all.
Wow.
Gotcha.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, Lou and I had a lot of fun. We did.
Oh yeah.
But what happens is, again, it's the same argument. It's like if you make Crowley physical, now the Jeopardy's more interesting. If you make him supernatural in in the other context of the word, where he can always survive things and whatever. It's actually not that exciting.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he can get hurt,
right. You have to know there's some peril there.
He can be a little bit cowardly.
Some consequences.
He can be a little bit cowardly, and he can be a little bit. That's going to hurt, and I'm not.
Right.
Like that. I think that's good writing. I think that's where that's at.
It is, and it humanizes him in a way that's gratifying.
And no more so than the end of season 8, because that's literally me being in.
Well, don't spoil it.
Yeah,
we literally haven't watched it, so we don't know.
Listen, if you don't want to know the score, don't go down to the pub.
We're not at the pub. We're talking about season 5.
I'm in the pub.
This is a season 5 pub.
I promise to be better if you invite me back. I'll be very
well. One thing is for sure, we will definitely have you back.
We're gonna have you back a lot because you do a lot of the show.
You do.
I know you are.
Yeah.
I know you are.
I'll watch an episode or two.
Well,
this is the first of many conversations we're gonna have with you, Mark. You're a staple of the show, man. So
it was a joyous thing, and the greatest honor for me is to get to thank and honor my compatriots, an incredible crew, an incredible group of writers and cast and one-offs and people that just made this experience probably one of the most joyous experiences of my life. I wouldn't be here without that. I wouldn't be married to my wife without Supernatural. There's so many things. I wouldn't know you guys, and we wouldn't all be buddies. I was going to say,
Rich would still hate me.
They have no idea. They have no idea how special this is. This really is. Sometimes they have no idea how special this is, and it's our job to remind them that. This is an amazing thing, and I'm so grateful for it. It's just fabulous. So enjoy, watch
Thank you,
and let me know what you think.
We will, and
and everybody keep watching for more episodes because you're going to see more Mark Sheppard, and we're going to have him on again.
We are grateful for you, Mark Sheppard. Thank you very much.
Hey, this is Jeffrey Dean Morgan. We are going to take a quick break.
The family that vacations together stays together. At least that was the plan. Except now the dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want your connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton, for the stay.
This episode is brought to you by Skinny Pop Popcorn. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Oh, so light and crunchy. Skinny Pop Original Popcorn is the snack you've been searching for. Made with just 3 simple ingredients: popcorn kernels, sunflower oil, and salt. Snacking never felt or tasted so good. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Give yourself permission to snack and pick up Skinny Pop Original Popcorn today.
Hey, it's Jeffrey D. Morgan again. Welcome back to the podcast.
Well, that was great. It was great to see Mark. It was great to have him. It'll be one of many, many, many we have him for.
We got a lot of Sheppard coming up.
Yeah, I love that he wasn't quite sure what episode we were talking about, but he kept referencing.
Had no idea.
But he kept referencing the episode we were talking about.
Yeah, well, it was funny. He kept referencing it, but saying, "You're not there yet, but you'll get to this episode where I take a crowbar." I'm like, that was this one. Oh, well, you're not there yet, but there's a scene.
I wave and the elevator goes. No, that was
yeah, that was this one.
But it's an episode where I call Sam Moose for the first time. That was this one.
That was funny guy.
Funny.
Great interview with Mark. Great guy. I can't wait to have him on some more.
Yeah.
Now it's time for mythology.
In this episode, the boys are in pursuit of the horseman Pestilence. Rich?
I prefer to say horseman, but horseman does kind of have a more haunted horse kind of feel.
Okay, great.
So,
I bet you're the
sure.
kind of person who says the devil you know and not the devil, you know?
Egg on my face. You're right. You know me well. The book of Revelations describes the 4 horsemen as conquest, war, famine, and death. The Old Testament's book, Ezekiel, describes them as war, wild beasts, famine, and pestilence. Modern interpretations often conflate conquest and pestilence as the same horseman.
Well, Jesus, I mean, get it right.
What am I, conquest or am I pestilence? Am I sneezing or am I conquering? Somebody's got to tell me.
Can we get a final edit on the Old Testament?
Somebody make a choice back there.
One document. This is the first rider. He's described as being on a white horse and carries a bow. The white horse can symbolize purity, conquest, or victory, which in this context can suggest the relentless spread of disease.
The origin of this interpretation is unclear. Some translations of the Bible mention plague or pestilence in connection with the riders in the passage following the introduction of the fourth rider. They were given power over a fourth of the earth to kill by sword, famine, plague, and by the wild beasts of the earth.
Ah, well read, Richard. Well read.
Thank you.
Supernatural has usually taken its inspiration from the Old Testament.
There you go.
All right.
That's kind of a fact. It's not a fun fact.
Yeah.
So that's why we divided it out of the next section, which is called Fun Facts! Fun Facts! Fun Facts.
The episode title refers to the saying, better the devil you know than the one you don't.
Which in Rob speak would be...
Better the devil you know than the one you don't.
Or another alternate reading of Rob's version would be...
Better the devil you know than the one you don't.
Which means that it is better to go with a familiar, if imperfect choice than an unknown one. Or it means something completely different that didn't make any sense given how Rob places the emphasis on the words.
In the opening scene in the pharmaceutical lab, there's a sign for herpexia on the wall. This is the fictional herpes drug Sam was forced to act in a commercial for in an earlier episode, Changing Channels, your episode.
I love that episode.
It's a great episode. Everyone's talking. They're all saying Changing Channels is the best episode.
Everybody's saying great episode.
Well, I love that kind of thing. That's so great.
Yeah, I love the Easter egg stuff.
And did you notice that they say the talking statues? When they have the masks on and they talk about, she said, did you see something about talking statues?
I don't remember that.
You don't? Anyway, that's a reference to Doctor Who.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you ever watch Doctor Who?
I've seen a couple episodes, but there's
I've never seen it.
One of the most famous episodes is that there are museum like statues that are talking.
Oh, okay.
Right?
You know, maybe she did, Rob. You might be right. Let's just go with you, right?
All right. One of the sick patients shown in the ER at the beginning of the episode is the store clerk from the end of the previous episode who Pestilence sneezed on. Wow.
2-episode arc for that mofo.
I completely missed that.
Me too. Good one, everybody. Of course, we waited more than a week between watching, didn't we? So maybe our memory faded. I bet you if you're binging that, you pick up on it. Like if you're going from, watching them in a row, you'd notice that immediately.
Yeah, I guess so.
Unlike us. Okay. The name Crowley was taken directly from Good Omens, the book by Neil Gaiman, which may have taken it from the famed occultist Aleister Crowley, which is immortalized in a song by Ozzy Osbourne that Rob Benedict sings every time Mark Sheppard takes the stage at a convention, and the song goes like this. Robert?
Mr. Crowley, what goes on in your head? Mr. Crowley, did you talk to the dead?
Kind of a perfect song to intro the guy. You know what I'm saying?
It really is. I'm going to say that Aleister Crowley, definitely Crowley was taken from the famed occultist Aleister Crowley. It must be.
I would assume. Not a lot of famous occultists out there, you know? He's probably at the top of the food chain in the occult fame department.
Yeah.
Well, it was a great episode. Anytime you get Mark Sheppard onto a podcast, you've got a humdinger. This was great.
Yeah, great episode of TV, great episode of podcast.
Correct.
Well done, Richard Spade.
Well done, Rob Benedict, and more to come as we make our way towards the end of season 5
so
here.
Very excited.
Yeah.
This episode of Supernatural features Jared Padalecki as Sam Winchester, Jensen Ackles as Dean Winchester.
Guest stars include Mark Sheppard, Jim Beaver, and Eric Johnson.
The Devil You Know was written by Ben Edlund and directed by Robert Singer.
Editing by Tom McQuaid, music by Jay Gruska.
Executive produced by Eric Kripke and Robert Singer.
This originally aired on April 29th, 2010.
This episode of Supernatural Then and Now was hosted and executive produced by Richard Spade Jr. and Rob Benedict.
Produced by Stephen Hine, written by Stephen Hine and Haida Holscher.
And edited and associate produced by Trey Booty.
What's up, Booty?
Music provided by Tim Wynn.
The episode was recorded with the help of Sonic Fuel Studios.
This podcast is from Story Mill Media.
Follow the podcast on Instagram and TikTok at SPN Then and Now.
And become a member of the podcast at patreon.com/SPN Then and Now.
Kill time.
Rich is looking
Thank
up what he needs to know about somebody's beard. It's somebody's
I'm
beard.
going
His
with.
name
I'm
he
going to
can't
go with.
pronounce.
Let's see. I'll find out what years was Stapleton.
Rich is looking up the years. We only got
And
so
the
much
killer.
time, but this episode of Supernatural features Jared Padalecki as Wim Wimmercher.
As Win Samchester.
The episode opens in a pharmaceutical lab with two technicians getting violently stabbed with the syringes of the Croatian virus by a demon disguised as a security officer.
I don't think it's the Croatian virus.
The episode opens in a pharmaceutical lab.
Quick apology to our friends in Croatia who might be listening to the show.
There, Sam is horrified. Wait, they're at Bobby's?
Yeah.
I thought they
That's
were at
right.
that like shack that.
I think Bobby, you know how Bobby built that rehab room downstairs, whatever.
Oh,
in that
yeah,
little
yeah,
dungeon.
yeah. Okay.
Well, I was going to say, usually Steve Hine waits till you say something dramatic and then hits record. So this is nice to be recording at the
All right,
beginning of the
I'm
conversation.
Story Mill Media.
Talmor, Sheshin Murachi. Talmor is my home. My family have worked the land for generations. My gran says the island does not belong to us, but we belong to the island. And we must be ready, for a great evil is coming, and death follows with it.
Listen and subscribe to the latest season of Undertow, The Harrowing, a Storyglass production presented by Realm, available wherever you get your podcasts.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Buntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I study the secrets of the divine plagues and uncover the blasphemous truth that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Buntwine, wherever podcasts are available.